Unsolicited advice.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's episode 26. Today's the 26th, right, Elijah?
I guess.
27th. Damn.
I
no,
lose
it's the
track of time
27th.
so much.
We're sitting here with Elijah Banks. Mr. Banks, the rapper, the Columbus insurance expert. And
hey, nobody needs to know that part.
Right.
We're cutting that out.
We're cutting it. We're sitting in his lovely apartment on I'm not gonna share his address, but he's filming. It's great.
Yeah.
How are you today, bro?
Hey, I'm good, man. I got me a strong whiskey shot right here. Sunday morning breakfast.
Relaxing.
You know, just really building every single day, working on a new album.
Yeah.
Do you know Rookie Ransom? Rookie?
I do know Rookie.
Yeah. He just hit me up to do What Fest.
Really?
What Festival.
Bro, that's some good
So,
news.
yeah. He
That's
actually
cool.
wanted to, he hit me up on Friday, but I couldn't talk about it. But I told him for sure yes. So he wants to give me like details and
The official announcement right
the
here.
official.
Heard it here first on
Heard it
Unsolicited Advice.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you for bringing exclusives. I love bringing the press release. Thank you. Bro, so that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about your career, your passion, the music game, the
Hell yeah.
industry. Yeah, so just to start off, when did you start finding a passion for music?
So it's just kind of a weird story, and everybody like is very intrigued by it sometimes. So I started making music when I was like 10 years old.
Okay.
And my dad, he was in radio. So we were always at the station. The big artists would come through, and like I'd be like, oh, you know, this is a person that I want to be like. At the time, horrible role model, but it was Bow Wow.
Really?
Yeah, little Bow Wow. Because I was like, we were the same age. I think he's like 2 years older than me or 2 years younger. I can't remember what it is, but he would come through, especially in Atlanta when we lived down there, and I would be like, yo, I want to be like Bow Wow. So one day, my dad, he just surprised me and set up a studio session when I was like 11 years old. And I got in the studio. I was super nervous.
Yeah.
And he ended up writing my first rap for me.
Your dad did?
He wrote my first rap for me.
I
and
love
I just
that.
like recited it. And I got it somewhere on wax. I think my stepmom has it, but
On wax?
that means just like
On
MP3.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you might have it on vinyl.
Oh,
That's
no.
insane.
Could you imagine?
That's
I'm not that
incredible.
old, bro.
I know, right?
Like, yo, I got this shit. But so that was my first experience with music. And then throughout the next few years, we did talent shows. It was me, my brother, and my stepsister through marriage. We do talent shows. I actually started off as a backup dancer.
Okay.
And my sister
Was the talent.
She was the
front.
main singer.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I could sing back then. I didn't find out I could sing till like a year ago, bro. It's sad but true. So, yep, the years through that. And then I took off for a while. You know, I went through high school. I loved music, and then
Yeah.
I went to college. And then I got my first setup. I think I was a sophomore in college. I like saved up like financial aid money, tax return, and I just bought a Pro Tools set. It's like a bundle. So you get like an interface, a mic, and the
Pro
program
Tools.
that
Yeah.
goes on a computer. And I remember knowing that I had something when my neighbors knocked on my door. They were some hot Asian chicks. They knocked on my door and they were like, "Is that you singing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Let me hear it."
Oh, and
Like,
they liked it.
They didn't even call. They didn't even knock to complain. They could hear it through the walls.
Right.
So they came in and like, I feel like when people listen to music, they're always very unsure with the unfamiliar sound. Like people know something's good, but it's hard for people. Okay, so let me stop here. People love stereotypes. People love to put you in a box.
Right.
Not in a negative sort of way.
No, but they need to compartmentalize where you fit.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you make rap. Okay, you make country. Oh,
Yeah,
you-
they're like, okay, you're a rapper, so this is. But I feel like my sound is very unique, and I hate to toot my own horn, but I've even
No,
had
toot it.
trouble.
Go ahead, toot it.
I've even had trouble being in certain lanes because people are like, "Oh no, you're this," but I'm like, "No, really, I'm just kind of a mashup of a lot of different things."
Right.
So, so they knocked on my door. I knew at that point, I was like, once you can get females and girls listening to your music in college, like you got something. So, still didn't act on it. I didn't act on it too much. Years went past, like sadly. I would just make music kind of like half-ass.
Right.
And then at the top of last year, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm very comfortable right now. Like, I'm extremely comfortable. Like, I have a good job. Like, why
That's
don't I
good,
just
yeah.
go for this shit?
Right.
So I just remember having like all the money I could have and being like, I'm still not satisfied. Like that, I was very unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And I was like, what could I do to make me feel a little bit better? So I started doing music, and I started taking it serious. And I was like, what's the worst that can happen? One of my,
nothing.
yeah, exactly.
No
One
fear.
of my, what'd you say?
No fear.
Yeah, no fear.
Yeah.
One of my mentors, you know Gary Vee?
Yeah.
Gary Vee. I watched him for the first time. My buddy Chad, he came over. He was like, you want to see a funny video? I'm like, yeah, sure. So there's this video called Hot Ones.
Yeah, I love Hot Ones. I watch that shit all the time. I'm a huge fan of Hot Ones.
Yep. It's the first time I ever seen it. It was the episode with Gary Vee. And I was like, I love the way he cursed.
Yeah.
I love the way it was unfiltered. And it just like spoke to me on a whole different level. So I remember I sold my Xbox.
Yeah.
I sold my Xbox One and I was like, I'm tired of playing video games. I'm tired of fucking working this 9-to-5 job.
Wasting time.
I'm just going to see what else could shake.
Right.
And so I just got on this path where I was like, I'm going to collaborate with everyone that I can. And it ended up working beautifully. Did some big shows.
Yeah.
Did some small shows. Released some great music. And that's just kind of my journey with it.
That's a really good story. I can see why people like to hear that. That's
Yeah.
great. And I have so much to touch on now. Now I got 100 more questions. New questions I got to ask you. You were from Atlanta?
So my dad was in radio sales. So
Radio sales?
yeah, radio.
Okay, so yeah, explain what
He
radio
sold
sales
like
is.
advertisements on, like, if you hear the commercials, that's what he did. And if you know that industry, if you know anybody in the radio industry, it's very fickle. And what I mean by that is it's like extremely temporary.
Yeah.
Like you come into a new market, which could be like a New York and LA or Chicago, and then 6 months later you could be fired. So I went to 7 different high schools.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Just imagine going to 7 different high schools.
Yeah, that's a 4-year span you went to.
Over a
school.
4-year
Yeah,
span.
it's really hard.
And it was extreme, but I love the culture that I got to see in each city.
Yeah, which cities did you touch?
Oh man, so
Atlanta?
Atlanta, I went to 2 high schools in Atlanta. I went to a high school in New Jersey. I went to 2 high schools here in Ohio, one in Delaware and then one in Columbus. I went to a high school in Louisiana. I did one in Alabama.
Damn.
And I think that's 7. Yep. That's
That's
7,
intense.
2, and 3. Yep.
That's a lot, bro.
So it was extremely intense.
Yeah.
And then I remember my senior year, I like looked at my dad and he was like, we're about to move to Memphis. I was like, I looked at him and I was like, I'm tired of moving. At the time I was 17.
Right.
It's my junior year and I was just so upset with moving. I just wanted that experience.
Yeah.
To be, you know what I
Especially
mean? Like,
senior year, you want to just touch down, stay.
yeah, it just sucked.
2 a year it's crazy.
Yeah, but looking back at it, it kind of made me who I am today, which is dope.
Right.
But it's like,
You got to be
I
able-
wouldn't put my kids through that shit.
No, but you also probably learn the skill of like, okay, I got to walk in and make friends.
Oh, dude, I'm so
Immediately.
good at walking into a new room.
Right.
I could be gangster. I could be preppy. Like,
You have to learn how to wear all those hats because if you went to, you know what I mean? Whoever
Dude,
said hi to you first became your friend probably.
yeah, like my high schools were, they were like so polar opposite. Like you would be like, fuck. Like I would go to like a all black.
It's cool. It's just a pop up at school.
I'd go to like a all black high school in Atlanta, and then we would transfer to like a all white fucking. Like it was completely crazy. Like just think about switching, like even the way you dress.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, at one place you're wearing, you know, something.
Baggy
and the next
shit.
place you get, yeah, because
Everyone's
style
wearing
changes.
Hollister at the next place. So it was
Right.
just, it was intense, but I wouldn't take it back.
I have a weird question. Did you, stylistically speaking, did you try to hop on each wave? Because if you're moving so much, I'd have to seem like you'd almost have to find like just the
A nice
generic,
middle
just
ground.
a generic fit for everywhere, you know?
So I'll be completely honest with you.
Because you're stylish, dude. You got a style to you.
Well, so my father, he was not huge on clothes.
Okay.
Like, he wasn't big on, like, buying us, like, designer shit. Like, he would try to, like, sell us on, like, discount shit.
Right.
Like, it was just the funniest thing. And I respect him for it looking back at it now, because really what you have on doesn't matter.
No.
But the reason I dress like this is because I have control. Like, when your parents are taking care of you at a young age, like,
right.
really what you're wearing is what they buy you.
Of course.
So I didn't truly have a mode of expression through my clothing when I was growing up.
Okay.
So now I use it as an expression. Like, you see me in the summer, I got on floral shirts. Like, I really believe that I started that wave in Columbus. Nobody was wearing floral shirts before me. I moved here, and, like, I would go out to the bars on the weekend, and people would be like, bro, that shirt's dope. Next season, everywhere in America is wearing floral shirts.
Yeah, you were.
Like, the Paisley, you know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody was doing that shit. So, yeah, you get. I don't know,
as
like
a form of expression now, because you didn't have the opportunity back then.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Damn, you went off so hard to start, and now it's just going to backtrack, I guess, through the story, which is great. I didn't expect to do this. I love this. To touch on Hot Ones real quick, it's an interview show where the person comes on, usually a pretty famous celebrity. They've had some heavy hitters on, especially as of late, and they eat chicken wings, 10 chicken wings, and as they eat more, the chicken wings increase in spice. And the reason I love that as an interview show is because it breaks down the person. You can't be fronting when your mouth's on fire, so you really have to give great answers.
It's the true you.
Yeah, it's a true you. Like, sweating, eyes running, like tears. Yeah, tears running down your face. It's a great show, and he has fantastic questions. I used to watch. I've, like, written down his questions before.
Yeah,
because they're great. Like, he's a good interviewer. So you're in Atlanta. Who other than Bow Wow did you get to see come through the studios?
So that was probably. So I was very young. You got to think, like, this is 8th, 9th grade. So my dad would be, like, raving about certain people. Like, I don't know if you know who Jagged Edge is, but, like,
yeah,
it was like a hip hop and R&B station. So, like, people who sang R&B and hip hop would come through, like Bone Crusher. Like, these, I'm talking about, like, 2003, 2004.
Right.
You know, like,
not the best era of music necessarily, but
bro, horrible era of music.
Horrible
to me personally.
Yeah,
I just think it was so over commercial, like, especially hip hop that crossed over.
Right.
It was horrible. Nelly.
Yeah. That like, I Want to See Your Grills.
Yeah.
Songs like that. It's going down at
Yeah.
the mall. It's going down.
Yeah.
All these places.
Oh, now that guy, Young Jock, was from the south side of Atlanta.
Okay.
So, like, that was the move.
Right.
Like, Young Jock is going down. I remember hearing that song for the first time and being like, this shit is kind of fire.
Right.
Because everybody at my school was singing it.
Yeah.
You got to realize, like, when I went to high school, when I was a freshman, Sierra, the singer, was a senior at my high school.
At your high school?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it was called North Clayton.
Okay.
And I went to Banneker High School, which was the same high school that Ludacris went to.
That's cool.
So, like, I'm really in the hood, in the, like, south side of Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, these cats would actually come through. Like, I remember, like, smoking weed for the first time, listening to fucking T.I. Top Let Back. You know what I'm saying? Like, really
in Atlanta,
out there.
Which is
in Atlanta.
Which is heavy.
Like, really about that life.
Right.
So, it was interesting. Like, there's so many people, even people I went to church with, who, like, shockingly enough, like, they made, like, secular music, which is, like, worldly music.
Yeah.
And they would go, like, they would be at my church. Holyfield went to my church. My dad made me go up to him and get his autograph when I was, like, 10 or 11. And I remember I didn't give a fuck about the autograph.
Right.
I was looking at his ear, and it's gone, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the shit is really gone.
Right. Which is scary as a little kid to come up on some guy who doesn't have an ear.
Yeah, and, like, I got his autograph on the back of a fucking, what do they call it? Like, not a church flyer, but, like, a program.
Pamphlet? A pamphlet?
Yeah. And, like,
do you still have it?
Hell no.
Right, yeah, no.
Like, I didn't even I really didn't care. I wanted to see his ear. I remember that fight. It was me and my little brother. My dad, after he divorced my mom, he threw this huge boxing party.
Okay.
And, like,
to
my
watch
dad,
the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember he was like, guys, like, the fight is tonight.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna be upstairs. Now, me and my, like, we were in separation, like, divorce kind of shit. So, like, we didn't have pajamas. And I just remember me and my brother having on like the biggest t-shirts, like those were our pajamas. Like we
Yeah.
just had on underwear and like huge t-shirts. And I remember he like sent us upstairs. I just remember like a bunch of yelling and screaming, like people going nuts. And it was over like in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because like he was outboxing him, so he like reached in and bit his ear off.
Yeah,
I
because
guess.
Tyson was about to lose.
Exactly. So I actually remember that moment.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then you got to meet him.
And then I got to meet him
That's badass.
years later, but still.
Dude, that's pretty cool. That's a good story too. It's interesting, and I don't know if you've drawn these like connections in your head, but like, okay, so your dad loves music, right? And he's bringing you around, or he's giving you like he's letting you see from like a young perspective, of course, like Bow Wow come into the studio, all these people. He obviously admires them because he wants you to see them, right? And then, and he's working in radio, so it kind of gives you like a touch of it too. Books you a studio session, you're seeing all this music, right? And then you're also going from school to school. So in Atlanta, you're listening to Top Back, right?
Yeah.
Smoking a blunt. And then you have to move to an all-white school. Everybody's wearing Hollister. I'm pretty sure they weren't listening to T.I.
No, they were listening to what were they listening to back in the day? Like you had like a weird, there was like a weird like crossover period, and I remember this in high school where like Chingy, Nelly, like you would have the white kids that would listen to the top 40 rap.
Right.
Like who doesn't now? But
Yeah, that's what I listened to. Yeah.
yeah, it
I
was just
trying
like
to
top
find it.
40. Like,
Right.
But I'm talking about when I was in Atlanta, it was like I never knew what a fucking mixtape was before I moved to Atlanta.
Right.
Like a mixtape is like some shit that will never be on the radio.
Yeah.
And like you could be as crazy and as nasty as you want because it's unsolicited.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like completely unsolicited.
What is the what year are you in Atlanta?
So this was I'm 28 now. Sorry, man. I'm a little old.
You're not that old.
So we moved there, and I was in middle school. I was in the 7th grade. Went to North Clayton Middle. So that would make me. How old are you in the 7th grade?
I don't know, 10?
I was
9,
born in
11,
90. No, 10.
13? Yeah, you're probably
10 years
13. Yeah, you're probably 13.
Yeah. Okay. So 2003. Like
Okay.
this was like the early 2000s.
Right. But in the early 2000s, like, Fire from Lil Wayne. Damn it. What was it? The Drought. Those were the first mixtapes that were bubbling up.
Yeah.
That were so good and so hot that
Yeah.
everybody needed to hear them. And they actually became like, Lil Wayne blew up off the mixtape.
Yeah.
So that whole era was going on right around then too. So it was like you were at a really strong moment in rap because that was the first time everybody could just blow up more quickly. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
didn't need the radio, or you didn't need like a label.
Yeah, dude, you didn't. But I will say, sorry, Lil Wayne, but I didn't get into Lil Wayne until I heard what was it? It was a mix. It was like
One of the Carters.
no, it was the one with DJ Drama. It wasn't the Carter. It was the Dedication series.
Okay, where he did the other people's instrumentals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Drought. I don't know. Is that what it's called? Not No Ceilings, but it was just like I started catching a wave right when it started bubbling, and I was like, this shit is dope.
Yeah.
Like live from the 504, it's Mr. Crazy Flow, jumping like a bungee, no rope, even in the dungeon I go. Like that was the shit that I was like, whoa.
Right.
I'd never heard nobody just go from start to finish, because we all psychologically like we all wanted to hear that person, especially like a Lil Wayne, fucking rap longer.
Yeah, he did. His verses were long. And you had to like almost, and you could catch new shit almost every time you heard some of them.
Exactly.
Right.
And the thing about it too was like we come traditionally from like an 8-bar and a 16, 12-bar verse. So like that's on like a big single. Like I'm trying to think of a Lil Wayne song where he was like, even on like some T-Pain shit that he might have done. Like we all technically would be like, yo, what would he have done on this track? Like you don't think that initially,
Right.
but he actually gave you
More. He gave you what you wanted. He made it less like pop. Like some of
exactly.
that Atlanta rap is kind of poppy.
Yep.
Like very chorus driven.
Yeah.
Very kind of like, okay. And maybe spit like one or two nice lines throughout it. But Lil Wayne would just go off in a
Dude.
way that was
I mean,
Very interesting. Yeah,
he
cool.
would just lose it on the fucking track.
Yeah.
And I remember watching. They got this documentary. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called The Carter. It's called Carter docuseries. And
All about him? All about the Carter?
dude, check it out.
Ooh,
It's
I
right
will check
when
it out. That sounds dope.
he did live. He freestyled Swagger Like Us. No one on the corner got swagger like moi.
Right.
Church. Like, that shit is fucking fire, bro. But, like, he freestyled that. And that's why I stopped writing music. Now all I do is freestyle. At that moment, I realized, I said, I'm putting myself in a box when I put my pen to paper. So I'm like, if this beat don't make me feel a certain way, then it's not going to make nobody else feel a certain way.
Right.
So I started going off and just being like, the first thing that comes to my head is the
what I'm
first
gonna say.
shit that because that's what everybody wants to hear.
Yeah, it's more authentic. It's
Yeah.
fresh too. That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's not coerced. It's not rehearsed.
No, it's not. I like that. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah,
Every bar.
every bar.
That's intense.
Sometimes, like, whenever I have a show, I got to listen to my music over and over again.
Because you don't know the words to your songs.
I didn't write it.
Right, yeah.
I didn't rehearse it.
No.
Like, it's just fresh.
So, okay, let's touch on that, the creative wise. If you're always doing that, do you take multiple takes on a song sometimes?
Yeah. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I'll freestyle through an entire song. But, like, if
You'll
I
do
got
a
an
verse,
idea for
wait.
a hook,
Okay.
I'll just, like, get in front of the mic, scream some wild shit, and see what works.
Okay.
And then
Very
it's like,
trial by fire, very like,
Yeah.
shoot from the hip
Yep.
and see what sticks.
Yeah. And it's done wonders for me. Literally.
Yeah, because
like,
there's no, you broke down that fear wall again of like, okay, I got to sit down. I
and
got to
sound like this.
Right. Yeah, you're not putting any kind of moniker on like how your rhythm's got to be. You're not making that like,
Nope.
My words are escaping me. I'm a little hungover.
No, you're fine. Were you at that party last night?
What, the Wonder Ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I should have went.
It was cool. It was cool, dude. It was yeah, it was goofy. Like a flow. You know what I mean? Like Drake will have a flow on a song, and then like he'll even announce that he's switching up the flow, right?
Mhm.
And I'm a big Drake fan, huge Drake fan.
I like Drake too.
Yeah, almost like a nerd. I've
Drake,
seen
I
him-
need a feature.
Yeah, right. I've seen him in concert. I think like 4 times.
Yeah, I've seen him like twice,
Perfect.
and it was fucking magical.
Yeah, they're pretty tight. He'll switch up the flow, and then you kind of get like a sound. You know what I mean? Like T.I. has a sound. You can hear a T.I. song, and you know like this is T.I. But if you
Which is
never
dying.
right, exactly. If
Sorry,
you don't put
T.I..
your, but if you don't ever put a label on it, like you're trying not to,
Mm-hmm.
sky's the fucking limit of what you could really do.
Exactly. There is a good and a bad side to that. And the reason I say that is because so many people will be like you would be amazed at the people like on a higher level than me look down and they'll be like, what you do is great, but you need to pick a lane. And unfortunately, that's tough, man. Because
It's also, I don't think true. It's 2019. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
Make a country song. Do
And
it
I've
with Post
always
Malone.
thought like that, and I feel like people are starting to see like you can really do whatever the fuck you want.
You can do whatever, and like not just. So like before we started the podcast, you were talking about Elon Musk. You were talking about like Gary Vee. That, and like how we were. So you work at Nationwide, right?
Yep.
Which I know you don't want to talk about, but to paint on the metaphor is like the person who is above you or looking down on you telling you that is probably telling you that because like their whole lives was like XYZ, finish the book, get the job, stay at the job, then retire. We're just never going to be like that.
Ever.
We
And
were
I
all
don't
told-
want to be like that.
Yeah, I don't want to be like that either. Who wants to have do the same thing every day? Who wants to sound the same way every day?
Right.
I'm about to switch up this shit all the time. Like sometimes I do like quick interview like me and the Sailor. Sometimes we chop it up like this. I'm going to add, you can just play with it.
Yeah. And like you know Alexia.
Yeah.
She came over probably like a week or two ago, and I'm not going to jump too deep in it, so we'll keep it short, but she was just like, I want you to experiment a little bit more with song structure. And I really felt that on a deep level because like there's so many things that we're told and like that we're taught to learn that we don't even realize. Like a song doesn't have to start like fucking verse chorus or chorus verse. I want to start with a bridge. I'm really trying to push that limit.
Right.
And
Experiment.
I don't really give a fuck what anybody else says.
Yeah, because you shouldn't. It's your music.
Yeah.
Just
And
put it
it's
out.
like, I want you to like it,
Right.
but at the same time,
It's for me. It's not for you.
exactly.
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah, like people will tell me, 35 minutes is a good length. And I'm like, oh, I don't care. I'm gonna talk to somebody for 2 hours, and I'm gonna put it out. Like I don't give a fuck.
Dude, I like you because you kind of give me like a very Gary V vibe.
Thank you. That's
Because
very
it's
nice of you.
like, not as far as like insight, but like your attitude. Like you have great insight, I can tell. But like your attitude and like not putting up with the bullshit.
Yeah, there's no rules to
Like,
this fucking
yo,
game.
the house was dirty. Yo, we're doing it here. And we made it work.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you know how many people would have been like, oh, well, maybe next time.
No, I had to do it today.
And I'm sorry, like, I thought I had I double booked today, but it still ended up working. You know what I mean?
You would
It's-
have made it happen.
Exactly. And
I
that's
would've
the
been up
type
here
of
after
person
work.
I am. Like, some people take shit so personally.
Right.
And it's sometimes for me in my life, it's almost to a fault. Like, the way they take shit personally. Because I'm so, like, sporadic sometimes.
Yeah.
Even with women, they're like, I can't, like, they can't put their finger on me. They're like, there's no telling what I'm going to fucking do.
Right.
And unfortunately, I love who I am.
That's fortunate. It's not unfortunate. It's very. You said unfortunately, I love who I am. No, it's great.
But to the masses, like I said, everyone wants to put you in a box. It's easy to compartmentalize people. It's easy to put somebody to a stereotype.
It's almost what we do as like a survival mechanism. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I think you can. I mean, directing like from your childhood, you didn't know where you were gonna be, so you had to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like granted, you did have to like learn how to walk in and be a gangster in Atlanta, or
Yeah.
walk into. Where was the Hollister kids? Where are all the white kids at?
They were on. So
They're in my neighborhood. That's where they were. they were with me.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in the burbs of Cleveland, Ohio, in like a really like picturesque town.
What's
Like
the name of it?
Chagrin Falls, with like a water. There's a waterfall. There was a popcorn shop. George Bush came through to get ice cream.
Oh yeah, you're in Republican territory.
I'm in Republican territory. Yeah.
Did you vote Trump, man?
I have never voted
You never did.
in any president in any election.
I
never
didn't.
voted.
I didn't vote until.
I like that you just asked me that though.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's a
I'll
question
put people on the spot.
Yeah, people shy away from that shit. No, bro, fire, go.
Yeah.
Ask me whatever you
so,
want.
like, I voted for the first time in 2016.
That's
and
cool.
I did not vote for any major party.
Now, I'm not trying to put you on blast, but you are older than me,
Yeah.
and I probably won't be able to vote till 2020, I guess, even if I choose to.
Yeah.
But why'd you wait so long to vote?
I like the whole Obama thing, and I didn't vote for him either term. And I didn't vote at all.
Right.
I just truly didn't believe in the system until Donald Trump got in office. And I was like, fuck. I said, I kind of hold a responsibility to even people that are younger than me, people that are my age, that, hey, my one vote may not matter, but I'm going to vote. I'm going to post up that I voted.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell people how to vote, and they can do whatever they feel with it. But I kind of felt like a legal duty to be like, you know what? I'm fucking paying taxes. These motherfuckers are waxing me on taxes.
Right.
Like, I owe every year. But I'm like, and that's one thing that I should be able to do. So I didn't even vote major party. I voted independent. And the reason I voted is kind of funny. His name was Gary Johnson. And the reason I voted for this motherfucker
He was hilarious.
dude, he faked a heart attack.
Yeah, the weed thing. That's what I
And
was. That's
that's
why
where
I
he
think
had
he's
my
funny.
vote.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that video, I was like, you know what? I'm going to vote. I knew he wasn't going to win, but it was a statement vote. Because if anybody comes back and they look and they're like, oh, you supported Clinton, you supported Trump, I'm going to be like, no, actually I did him, because it was more of a joke.
Right.
And, you know, it kind of felt good. And I did vote in the primaries, too.
Did you do a funny vote on that one too?
I didn't. I did Democratic all the way down the
Yeah,
line.
right.
Because I was just like, okay, maybe it's time for me to actually take this shit serious. And we did. We took back the house, which is nice. It's a little bit more balanced as far as building a wall. And
Right.
I think balance is great.
That's why I think that it was good that who I would have voted for in the election, I don't know, might have been him, might have been Trump. Just because, one, who could have fucking seen all this shit. So I guess everybody who didn't want him to be in office saw it coming. But I will, if I did vote, I think I would always vote to make the balance, because it's checks and balances.
Exactly.
Right. So I wouldn't, if I voted right one time, I'd vote left the next time, just to keep things balanced. You know what I mean?
And that's kind of what I wanted to do. I've never had a candidate, even Obama, unfortunately, like where I was just like, this is a person that I will vote for. I vote for balance.
Yeah, I've never had a person, and that's probably why I've never voted, is where I have to get like, I'm invested.
I think they're all fake.
I hate all these dudes. Yeah, so that's perfect to kind of talk about, is like the moniker of like, you have to fit into something. That's probably why I would have voted for Trump, Trump, because he wasn't like doing what they told him to do.
And I get why
he was making dick jokes on fucking stage, which is not good to a degree. It's unprofessional.
Yeah.
But bro, you're saying something different. You're making fun of these fools.
Yeah.
You're disrupting, and I think he's disrupting he's making everything so fucking crazy now that we're seeing how broken the system is. If this fool can be on and like doing what he's doing right now, it's some like disruptive shit.
And I truly understand why people voted for him. And it took a few years for me to truly understand it. I remember when he said that he was gonna run for president. I remember thinking in my mind, he's gonna be president, because it was so unprecedented. And like, I would watch some of the interviews, and I'm like, people are gonna fall in love with this. And I feel like us as creatives, we kind of know first. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you have a feeling.
We have a good knack because we're creative people, and we understand on a much deeper level how people are gonna react to something.
Yeah,
it's like a hidden talent.
I think almost that, or at least for me, I think it would probably say that I crave attention. Obviously, if I'm willing to like try to get people to talk, and I go off on Instagram and shit, I do that because I want to, and I do it for me.
By the way, I love that. I forget what you were talking about one day, but I sat there and I watched. I think you were just venting about like what happened the night before.
Yeah. And
I felt that on a deep level, and that's something that I want to get better at, and especially how to communicate it. But maybe I should just be like, fuck how it's communicated and just do it.
Yeah, but don't just do it.
Yeah, I really fucked with it. I was like,
Thanks,
I like this.
I appreciate that.
I think people are gonna like it too. But we're early.
Exactly. You know, we're craving. So like, I'm craving attention, right? And so when you see somebody who's really good at attention, like Trump, you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. You have like a sixth sense, like, oh, he's doing it right now. He's doing the game.
Yep.
He's getting it.
He gets it. And I'm learning that with music too. I'm figuring this shit out every day. Like, I was listed on like 3.
Yeah, you just posted the article today, right?
Yep. I did that article. But that's cool and all. But the big thing is being able to get in people's ears. So I was placed on 3 Spotify playlists that have over 10,000 monthly listeners.
Yeah.
Which is huge. And the reason I say that is because I could push locally as much as I could.
But you can only be, and then you'll only be local.
Exactly.
Right.
I performed everywhere at this point.
Yeah.
It's like
everywhere locally. Yeah, you've been.
Yeah, locally in Columbus. I mean, the stadium, the Bluestone. Like, I mean, I don't even want to go through the list, but I've done that, and now it's like, okay, how do I get out of Columbus?
Right. What's next?
So I'm exploring different avenues, like, and a big thing is to just pop up on people's shit and be like, this is dope music.
Yeah. The Sailor was on, Kevin, and he is very open about how he'll. So to get on Spotify playlists, he described the whole process. You pay to send your shit in, and then they put it on the play. If you get approved, like, they gotta rock with it. They put you on the playlist because it's also their product is that playlist. Like, every follower they get, that keeps their engine running. So like, they need to be selective, and then once you're on the list, that doesn't guarantee shit. Like, if people are skipping your song, like, you have to be good too. And
here's one thing that I'll say.
Before you go, hold on. But it's a really great way to do music that way.
Yeah.
Because then it gives you an opportunity to get to other people's ear, but it's still, like, the product still has to be good. And I really think that's an interesting way, because I've seen the whole YouTube thing where, like, people can blow up on YouTube, but it doesn't work. Like, I think Spotify's a much better engine for it.
Oh, 100%, bro.
Like,
Like
it'll
you're
help
you're right on
artists.
with that. Now, there's a few things that I would have to disagree with, and you can ask anybody that knows me, and you can ask my team, like the people that help put my album together. I'm not for faking a lot of shit.
Of course not. Yeah.
So I will say I've wiggled a little bit on faking shit, but I do think that at least 80% of listens, everything that you do has to be real. Because if it's 20/80, everybody's gonna know. Like, people aren't dumb, man. Like, people fucking know if you're paying for shit. So
Yeah.
what I would rather do is like, so my motto this year is don't skip any steps.
Okay.
Like,
That's a great motto.
You ever like meet somebody and like, and I think we all want to do it. Like, we want to go from that person that we are to the finish line, right? But me, I'm so in love with the journey that I'm like, you know what? Let me just be in love with reaching out to these Spotify curators. I'm not going to pay them a dime. I'm going to put in like, before you got over here, every day I fucking email 10 Spotify curators that have playlists with over at least 1,000 monthly listeners.
Yeah.
And I shoot them directly my shit.
Right.
Because I don't know what it is about me. There's something about authenticity and like knowing that I did it from the ground up. It'll eventually like just spiral out of control. But if you just try to pay for everything, like, your expenses are going to be so fucking crazy.
Right.
So I have a different method, and that's not knocking anybody that wants to just be like, hey, I'm paying to get on this playlist. If
No,
people
you have
like
a
it, they don't.
shotgun method.
Exactly.
Just like with your music, you just shoot
Yep.
a wide shot and try all the time. Very Gary Vee
And
is
then
like,
you zone in on what works.
Yeah.
So with every release, I'm going to be like, yo, these people added me to their playlist. So they're going to go on my email list, and I'm going to just shoot it out to them on my next single. And then it'll compound because people will look at their playlist, and then they'll create personal playlists. And then what happens is you get this snowball effect.
right.
So that's my strategy as far as like music promotion on Spotify.
Did you develop that strategy from Gary Vee a little bit?
Maybe unconsciously.
Right.
I
'Cause
think
he
so.
talks like that. He does mention like that buckshot kind of, selling almost.
Yeah.
Is because I think people hold up in this mind is like Kendrick Lamar when 808s and what was that? Rigor Mortis. When
Yeah.
Rigor Mortis came out, everybody's like, oh, Kendrick Lamar on his first mixtape did it. He came out with 7 mixtapes before that. 7 different ones that were all great. I mean, I haven't heard, them, but I'm sure, but building up to that point, it's not the first time you step up to the plate, it's a home run. You got to swing every day a lot.
But I can guarantee you this. No matter what, Kendrick Lamar will never forget those days when people said no to him consistently.
Right.
And those are the days that I'm in right now. I'm not saying people are saying no consistently.
But there's more no's than yes coming through the door.
Exactly, because once a lot of yeses start coming in, it's like yes men and, like you can kind of lose who you are within a lot of easy things.
Yeah, exactly.
But you learn
'cause
a
there's no
lot about
resilience.
you when people say no to you.
Yeah, and your willingness to do it again.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's good mindset.
And then you like switching up your strategy. So with every release I do, I'm doing a completely different strategy. My last release, strictly email driven. Like I was like, I'm gonna fucking create an email list, and I'm gonna let people know how the single's doing. I'm gonna give them status updates. Hey, we just crossed 2.5 thousand fucking
Plays on
listens.
Spotify, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Download
get
this
them
shit.
invested in the story. Get them invested in the song.
Building the story is huge.
Yeah,
It's huge, man.
I like that idea, and it
Yeah.
also makes them feel like,
Include it.
all right, exactly, and everybody wants to be included.
Everyone wants to feel a part of something.
Right.
Yep. So
That's really
that's
nice.
it, man.
I love that. What's the strat? I mean, if you don't, do you have the strat? Or what are you doing for
my
this
next
one?
one?
Yeah, what are you doing for this one?
So this one, it's going to be very Spotify based. So with each thing that I find successful in my last campaign, I'm going to add it in to the new one. So the last thing was huge on like emailing, right?
Yeah, right.
This one, okay, not only am I going to email, but I'm going to make sure that I'm pitching to curate a Spotify playlist.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot a visual for it. I'm going to see how could I get creative and pull people's attention?
Will that be your first music video when you shoot a visual?
No. So I did one last summer for a song I had called Say Something.
Okay.
Which was fine, but I wasn't trying new shit.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like now I'm doing new shit.
And he keeps it fresh.
Exactly. And it keeps me excited. Like sometimes I wake up and like, ooh, let me see if I got fucking added to a Spotify playlist.
Right.
Like who knows? And then when you do, like I just got featured on Promo West Live's Discover Weekly.
That's huge.
And they don't have 10,000. They got 700 monthly listeners. But guess what? They know, all those people on there know that I'm local.
Yeah.
And it could transfer to a show opportunity. Like, people don't forget.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean?
No.
So.
I love it, bro.
Yep.
That's a really good way. So my friend in high school who's actually come up a little bit on the podcast lately, he was trying to be a rapper and trying to do it. And we were young, though. We were in, like, 8th grade, and he was doing songs about, like, JV baseball. But it was a very, like, Asher Roth type moment. You know what I mean? Like, you felt like it's a little corny.
Yeah.
But then he got, like, lost in the drugs and lost in, like, that kind of, like, mumble rap and kind of, like, wanted to start sounding like The Weeknd. And it just kind of lost what it was. But
you
like,
can lose yourself easily.
You can, yeah. It becomes,
And
because you want to fit that box.
It's easy to, because that's what people connect to.
And that's what people tell you to do all the time. Is like, find your sound, be your way.
Yep.
And then it's like, find a niche, right?
Exactly.
Like, some girl at work the other day told me that, like, nobody would ever, I was making jokes about, like, having all that weird supplements that I take sponsor my Instagram, right? But she's like, you don't have a niche, they'll never sponsor you. And I'm like, no, I'm just crazy, and people watch it, and sometimes they like it, and I think they might.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't Vital Proteins, if I'm making jokes about my hair?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's like, well, nobody knows to look. I'm like, everybody's looking. You just have to find how to connect with people.
Exactly. Hashtags are huge, too. Hey, do you care if I take a piss real quick?
No, man, do you think?
Okay, shit.
I'll probably just pause.
Okay.
All right, we're back. We're back.
Sorry, y'all. I had to take a quick little piss.
That's all right. Quick
I'm
piss.
drinking whiskey, and it is 1:51 p.m. on Sunday, and I don't give a fuck.
Before I ask you what you just prompted me with, which is great, do you ever fuck with, did you see the Jerry Lorenzo John Mayer Complex interview? Bro, you will love it.
You know, I actually just started getting into those, so I watched, like,
The Blueprint?
2 of them, yeah.
Yeah, I saw you. Me and you, I touched in your DMs the one time you posted that you were watching it, yeah.
There was one on Chance the Rapper's manager, and then there was another one that I watched on The Shade Room.
Yeah, both
And
were sick. I've seen all of them. They're awesome.
How often do they come out?
It's selective.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
so it's
it's like no schedule.
I kind of just found it, and then thanks to just the internet, like, you can just binge. So
Isn't it fucking satisfying to see, like, trailblazers in their stories?
It's so cool. I'm obsessed with it, bro. I listen to so many interviews, like, on the regular. Like, I'm never really listening to music that much. It's almost always podcasts and interviews.
But guess
and
what?
Books.
You're in your fucking bag. That's
Yeah,
what we
right?
need to name this episode. In your bag.
In your bag with Elijah Banks.
Yeah.
I love it. All right,
because
done.
Guess what, man? It's like, if you don't study and if you don't become who you want through, like, mentors, role models, it's like, why are you even fucking here?
Right. Like, you don't listen to any other rap, but you're a rapper?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's
Like,
going to work out,
dude,
bro.
one thing I listen to music all day. Like,
Yeah.
I know I could probably finish somebody's flow for them.
We're ripping off some pretty good Lil Wayne bars there pretty accurately.
Like, I've been doing that for years, though.
Right.
It's like, if you don't study the greats and the people that have done it before you, it's going to be, I wouldn't say it would be impossible.
But it might be impossible. It'd be very hard if you don't know the game. Drake always says that he's not afraid of any of these dudes that are out right now.
Shouldn't be.
He's afraid of the kid in his basement who's the younger version of him doing what he was doing and just learning everything and being... There's a difference between, like, seeing and watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you're seeing all the moving parts, you're seeing the game, you're learning. But you can just watch, too, and just sit back, do escapism, which is a great thing. You know what I mean? But, like, if you really want to look and dive a
I
little
like
deeper,
what you just said there. The difference between seeing and watching.
Yeah.
That's fucking money. that is really good because
Thanks, bro.
that actually just made me realize, like, whenever I watch one of those complex interviews, I'm not just watching it.
No.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Because I connect with that kind of shit on a different level. But I will say I have this weird thing about me. Sometimes I'll wait for the buzz to die down to watch something because I want I want my own feelings to speak a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, like, you know how everybody's like, oh, the Sicko Mode video just dropped. I think I didn't watch that until like 2 months after.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to watch something because of the buzz. I want to watch it for its true art.
Right.
I still loved it.
And if it's still sticking around.
Exactly.
My friend Christina, who is in Booty and the Kid, we
Ooh, dope band.
yeah.
I saw
really
them
cool.
at fucking Cafe Kerouac.
Bro, that was a long time ago. I was there too.
I was thoroughly impressed. And this was before I was even doing music seriously.
Right.
That was a long
long time ago. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, they had like props and I was like, oh man, like this is dope. But it was extremely, extremely good.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the most underrated bands.
In Columbus.
Absolutely.
They're like playing in Brooklyn. They're playing in LA.
I want to see more of the female singer, I will say.
Yeah, my best friend. She's been my best friend since like 3rd grade.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's what's her name? Christina?
Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you set up that introduction?
I would love to do that, bro.
I would love to like sit in. I love to know how people make music
Yeah.
because I'm not watching.
Exactly, bro. And they are dead. Like, they have more meetings and more rehearsals and more shit than any. I mean, granted, like, they're the only real band that I know right now.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they are really in it. They have, like, marketing meeting every Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
They're really giving it their go, which
Yeah.
is amazing. But she used to do that. When we were in, like, 8th grade, I'd be like, did you hear, the new Drake album? She's like, no, I'm waiting. Like, I'm like, how long? She's like, as long as I want to wait until, like, I feel like I'm ready to listen to it. And I'm like, oh.
I often do that with Drake albums because I love Drake as an artist, but they're hyped. And it's not in a bad thing because it's hot, right?
And the pop songs that come off of them are so big. Like, you hear the
I like
first
to hear the
three
deep
every
cuts.
day. Exactly, me too.
Like Do Not Disturb and like shit where he's like talking about his son. Like, that's the shit that hits me on a different level.
What's your favorite Drake album?
Woo, that's tough. Views was good, but I'm gonna show my age here.
So Far Gone?
I'm not that old. I have listened to So Far Gone, but
Yeah.
I would say Take Care.
Take Care is great.
It's my favorite Drake album because it did something different. I feel like imperfection can be perfect.
I do too, and there's a lot of imperfection on that. Some of
Yeah.
the songs are so. There's like, I think the whole album is like 2 hours.
Yeah,
There's a lot of fat.
Yeah.
It's not a lean album.
but I don't really care.
No,
They
I
got
don't
this
care either.
one song on there. Dum da da dum 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 da da dum 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 dum.
Yeah,
dum,
Over My
dum,
Dead Body,
dum.
or Look What You've Done.
Look what you've done.
Yeah.
Have you
Tears when I hear that song. I listen to that song all the time still.
But do you know the story behind it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, please share. I'm so excited.
So, the guy that's playing the piano, his name is Static Major.
Okay.
He passed away, I think, in 2012. And that is a YouTube rip
From
a YouTube video, just like 5 seconds of when he was playing the piano.
Wow.
And the producers, Chasing Cash, they're still out and they're still making music, but they ripped that and they made that into a song. And they said that was probably like the hardest thing to pull in and create a song around. But Drake was like, this is what I want.
This is what, yeah.
And he did it to show love. Static Major, a lot of people don't know, he was on Lollipop.
No, I didn't know that.
Lollipop, that's just like Dolly Pop. And like, that's not him. But if you watch the video, it'll always say Lil Wayne featuring Static Major. He's actually in the Lollipop video.
Right.
And that was the last thing he did before he passed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite Drake album is If You're Reading This It's Too Late. And then
Madonna.
Jungle.
Oof.
Madonna's a good song.
Yeah.
Jungle and You and the Six.
Yeah.
Because I love, and then Look What You've Done is a song to his mom, or his aunt rather.
Yep.
And I love, because I'm a mama's boy, I love those cuts. And I love my aunt too. Do you know the song by Lil Wayne where It's about Lean and oh damn it, what's it called? Nate Dogg. Like Lil Wayne would have random people on, like No Static, who don't really verse, or they're producers. Pour it in my cup and I'm gonna slip it till I lean hard. And yeah, I'm about to.
How old is it?
It's old. They say if I keep sipping, it's gonna kill me, but so will a car crash or a 9 milli. Dude, it's a great song. Hold on.
Yeah, I need to figure out what this shit is.
I'm gonna get it right now. I'm sorry. Damn, I haven't thought about that song in a long time. Pour it in my cup. I'm gonna sip it till I lean hard.
I love how on Apple now.
Me and my drink.
Oh yeah, drink. Up in the cut, just me and my drink. Yeah. That's actually the first song that I thought, but when you said Nate Dogg, I was like, I didn't hear him on the record. Like it didn't remind me of, because he's got a very distinct voice.
He does, and I almost don't even think it's Nate Dogg, because he comes on Short Dog. It's Short Dog.
Short Dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A very rare, very like small cut.
He has
from
a
him.
new name now.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he switched up his name.
What is it? But like he still raps and shit. Like it's funny, but he's like under a new name,
which is interesting.
Yeah.
You know Bruno Mars?
Yeah.
So his stage name is Bruno Mars because his original name is Aaron Hernandez, and they only saw him. They tried to put him in a box. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna be the new, not Emilio Estevez. Who's the dude who does the ping pong song? You're gonna be our new Latin pop star." That's what they told him.
Got you.
Because he was doing Michael Jackson covers and Motown covers in a little like family band for a long time, and
another YouTube guy.
Yeah, he blew up on the YouTube.
Huge,
right? Crazy.
I remember seeing his first cover that he did, and I was like, "Oh, this guy is special." But this was after he blew, so like I didn't find him. Right. But I was like, wow, like this guy's special.
Well, especially when you go back and like you see some of those first cuts where it's like, oh, this totally makes sense that he is now, playing the Super Bowl and doing all this shit.
Yeah. That Super Bowl performance was probably outside of Mike. And this is over Beyonce.
Right.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you come out with 200 black chicks with afros, for me, like, that's huge.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's, as Trump would say, big league. You know what I mean? Like, that's huge to me. So it's like, okay.
I like that you did the little figure thing, too. That's hilarious. Bro, okay, so you are down to just talk about anything, and you fired with me about politics.
What's up?
So, Black Panther, the culture movement, that whole thing. What, like, do you feel... So you don't want to just do rap, right? You don't want to be put in a box.
First off, let me hit on your first thing real quick.
Yeah.
I did not ride the Black Panther hype. I think I watched it on Netflix for the first time.
Right. You didn't see it in theaters.
Because...
I didn't see it in theater either.
I knew when everybody was coming out the movie theater and in their African scarves and they were doing Wakanda Forever, I was like, I've always been the guy to play off a little bit. And maybe it's because, in a way, I'm kind of jealous. But I don't know if it's like... I love when other people pop, but I just don't love riding a wave.
Yeah.
But what was your second question? Because like you started with Black Panther, but then you went into something else.
Yeah, you're right. But I was just liked where you were going. I started listening to you. Well, okay. So to touch on the wave part, like I am a comic book dude, and I have been forever. So I love all these movies. But I also, Black Panther was it was like a sexy comic, but it wasn't that strong story-wise, which is all right. And they've done a really good job of it with Marvel.
Was it close to what the movie was like?
Oh no, it was great.
Okay.
But like the story of the actual comic, you know what I mean? And maybe it's just because I didn't relate to it, but like part of the whole comic book thing is that you don't really think of race and everything. You just think of superheroes. Yeah. So, and then Michael B. Jordan is great, but I didn't really like what he was doing.
I didn't like his role.
Right. Neither did I.
I thought it was. He didn't play it bad. Like, obviously, he was the villain in my eyes. And you're supposed to hate the villain. What was his name in it? Killmonger?
Yeah, Killmonger.
I thought the movie was good. I thought it was a little overhyped.
I thought it was overhyped, and I thought it was lacking just, like, Marvel value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was just, they're making a lot of them now.
Yeah.
So some of them aren't that great anymore.
Yeah. I just did watch Infinity War, which I thought was fucking crazy. Yeah. I love how they brought a lot of the same characters. Like, from your, childhood all into one thing, which was dope.
Yeah. All right. So I guess I was asking more so like now that I remember kind of where do you, since you don't want to be put in a box, right? Of like you're a rapper, where do you think like the culture's going with? So you said like bringing out 200 black women with afros was a big win for you. Is an all black movie such as Black Panther, like, do you see that as a win? Do you see that as
I see inclusion as a win. And when I say inclusion, I mean, just look at America. I mean, it's obviously majority white. But I feel like with so many immigrants coming here, with so many different races, I think it's very important for younger people to see people that look like them in
on TV.
On TV and in, like, leadership roles.
Of course.
I think that those things are perfect because some of my greatest mentors in life, like growing up, my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Robinson, like that was like the first black teacher I ever had. I'll never forget her because she went against the grain. She was not the stereotype. She gave us freedom. Like she was very, like she wanted to know what we thought. Like, and I'd never dealt with somebody like that in my life.
Right.
So for me, that kind of made me who I was as a person. And I was like, I think other kids should get this choice too. Now it's a lot better,
and
since I was growing up.
Right.
But I thought that was something cool. I was like, damn, this is tight.
I'm going to try to, but so she was a great teacher, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, she was a great teacher, and then it happened to also be that she was black, which is nice for you because that was also your first black teacher.
Exactly.
Which is huge.
Because up until that point, as far back as I can remember, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade I did have a black teacher, but 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade I had white teachers.
Right. And the fifth grade one was just not as impactful as Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah.
She was just a great teacher.
Yeah.
Which we could touch on education system. That school is trash because it's putting you in a box every day. But I don't think
every fucking day, bro.
Right. And you're like regurgitating these tests. I dropped out of college and like it
So did I.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
I totally.
How many years do you have left?
I had 1 year left.
Yeah, me too.
I probably could finish my degree with like 2 semesters.
If you like really buckled down a little bit.
But what I'm doing right now with the at Nationwide and insurance is like I'm making a decent wage where I don't even need a degree. Like, and then I look at like Elon Musk interviews where he's like, "Fuck your degree."
Yeah.
And it's just like, yes, fuck your degree.
Right.
You want to know how many people that I sit next to that have degrees that are truly idiots?
Yeah, probably a lot of them. Almost all of them. Truly idiots.
Like, they're dummies, bro. Like,
yeah.
You want to know? So I talk to business owners all day. The business owners that make the most money are the dumbest people I know. They're like, oh, I'm a plumber. I make $150,000, $200,000 a year. I mean, like, they're dummies, like, intelligence-wise.
Yeah.
But they know, like...
They know their skill. They know their trade.
Exactly.
They don't need to know...
And they don't have no degrees.
Right.
They don't care about insurance. They just know that they need it in order to get paid.
Why the fuck would a plumber who's making $250,000 a year need to know about Bio 101? In what world does that help anybody?
How do we fix that?
That's a good question. I think you fix it by... and I think the internet's going to fix it. I could learn how to use all of Pro Tools from the web. I never have to take a class.
I learn all day on YouTube.
All the day. I just learn all day long. I listened to a 3-hour-long podcast the other day about a behavioral biologist.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to 3 hours of that. That's like a lecture. If I go get a book on it, that's 10 hours. That's like almost a full course. If I listen to one more thing, I basically took a college class on behavioral biology, and I didn't have to go through Bio 101, Bio 102.
See, you get it. You get it, man. I've learned about real estate. I've learned, like, there's so, like, dude, the podcast app, if you're listening right now, get the fucking podcast app because there's so much good shit on it.
Right. Unbelievable.
Like, so much good shit. Like, you can learn about anything. You can learn about murder series. I mean, you could learn how to get away with murder. You could learn, like, I mean, like, if
You're
you
right.
like, if you just listen, I mean, it's,
see the game, bro. Study the game.
It's there. You could learn about the rap game. You could learn about investing, bro. I learned so much through YouTube and podcasts.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Wow, you're so well versed." I'm like, dude, the information, like, it's free.
It's all out there, right?
It's so free.
Yeah, it's so free, and then you can, like Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
So I have two.
I love Tim Ferriss.
I love Tim Ferriss.
What is the name of that?
4-Hour Workweek? His book?
Yes. 4-Hour Workweek is good, but he has a podcast. Is that what's the name?
It's called The Tim Ferriss Show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and it's huge for me because Joe Rogan was cool, like a good place to start because it's trippy, it's weird, they talk fun shit, and he has like good mindset and everything. But like Ferriss, like breaking down what these experts are doing. Because Joe Rogan, you just come on, you talk, and you hang out. But like Ferriss breaks it down, and I'm like, it makes it tangible. It makes it like I could do it.
You want to know one thing I love about the Tim Ferriss Show?
What is it?
And this is so lame, but I love how podcasters who are really great in my eyes, they leave the links to everything throughout the conversation that is said. So like, I think that there's a difference between like saying something and there being a little bit of evidence. Like when I listen to, there's this podcast called Biggest Pockets or Bigger Pockets. Something like, it's about real estate.
Yeah.
But one thing I love that he does is he leaves links. So like throughout the episode, he'll be like, and we'll have that link available. And for you to be able to go research it and dig deeper into it and learn more is huge to me.
Because then you start at the 3-hour, right? Say it's a 1-hour podcast.
Yep.
But then it sends you on your way.
On a wild goose chase.
Yeah. And the deep rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did I get here?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You ever like, and this is me a lot, you ever just fucking watch something on Netflix or YouTube or whatever it is, and then like you just see all these related videos, and all of a sudden it's just like, there's so much. Like you took the whole Sunday and you're just everywhere with it. Like you're just down this deep rabbit hole.
Exactly.
And I watched some shit on the flat earth, and that shit was crazy, man.
Are you a flat earther? Don't ruin you, Elijah. Don't do it.
I wouldn't say I'm a flat earther, but I've watched some interesting shit.
Yeah. The YouTube conspiracy world is a scary place.
I love it. Like sometimes I'll like Google, I'll be like Trump conspiracies.
Right.
Like just to see.
Just to fuck around.
Yeah, just like
burn it, blow up an L and just see what happens.
Yeah, like is there something out there that I'm not seeing? Because I was watching Elon Musk last night and I was just thinking to myself, he was talking about aliens and like if we would ever encounter them, and I was like, huh. But the way he thought about it was like they could be living among us right now and we just can't see them. Like there's just so like we could be living in a simulation.
Right.
Like
Which is something I think about a lot, is the simulation theory. I think it's kind of interesting. The other one that's interesting is that aliens could be here in the sense that, like, because you don't see all the spectrum of light, right? So there could be, like, literally right here something, if we had different eyes, you can see into a different spectrum.
I always said that to myself. I was like, we have a certain spectrum that we can see, but what if there's things that we can't see? Like, just think about there being colors that you actually can't even, like, your eyes can't pick up
or comprehend.
Yeah,
that'd be wild.
It'd be so wild
to even just know they're there. You know what I mean? Like and then you'd have like this weird presence.
Yeah.
Of like, I know that's there.
Yeah.
But I can't see it.
Have you ever felt like
a ghost?
Something was there before?
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens to us all the time. It's
right.
Unfortunately, it's inevitable. So like, and that's why I go back to this. Just live your life. Be 100.
Right.
Do what the fuck you love. Because you never know when your last day is going to be. And I kind of believe in reincarnation too. I'm not huge into like, I grew up in a very religious household.
Yeah. Which is a box unto itself. People telling you how to think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, and we're going to be live, but I think Christianity, Buddhism, the faith of Islam, they're really good guides at living a very peaceful life. I think that's what they truly are.
Yeah.
I think somebody was like, oh my God, we're living in this world of chaos. Let's give something to people where they could be like, you know what? I want to live this way and I could stay out of the way. Like turn the other cheek kind of stuff.
Right.
And I think that's what they should serve as. And I think we should all believe in something. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Believe in yourself.
I think that's what it comes down to. And I think like a lot of the original teachings of all those things are that. But some, just like anything else, when something lasts a long time, a lot of things built up around it that aren't necessary.
Misinterpreted.
Right, exactly. Misinterpreted, or more so just like people see opportunity and people take opportunity. And sometimes it's
like,
not
why
for their
are
best.
priests raping young men?
Yeah,
You know,
I don't
like
It's
in the eyes of God, like the highest. You know what I mean?
and it makes you think God doesn't exist.
Exactly. Like,
is the saddest
how
part.
is that possible?
You're ruining the faith. Because
Wouldn't you intervene as a higher being?
Yeah, like when you intervene before like a kid gets fucking like,
Molested?
murdered.
Yeah, like,
or
or
molested,
whatever it
even, yeah.
is. It's like, wouldn't you want to? I know I would.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
No, don't.
if I could shape, like if I could shift things, boom, get
Right.
out of here.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like, why even create that person in the first place? Who would want to even
Yeah.
do that? Why would you create the hate? And I think that like duality of human beings. So like, and this isn't even on like that much of a like on that deep of a level, but like take Buddhism for example. It's against Buddhist teachings to promote Buddhism. Like no statues, no papers, no nothing, no propaganda.
I didn't know that.
Right, because they have statues everywhere. Right? Because what happened was when Alexander the Great was making his way and dominating and turning over the world, he started throwing up statues of Apollo, and Buddhists were like, shit, everybody's going to start doing this now. I guess we have to play the game. Like, we have to participate in something even though it's against our rules. We have to do this, right?
Dude, that guy, have you ever seen that movie?
What, Alexander the Great?
Yeah.
No, I've never seen the movie, no. I've studied the dude, though, a lot.
Okay, so that, like, I've never studied him.
Yeah, he's
But
fucking sick.
there's a movie on Netflix. I don't. It may be called Alexander the Great, but that was an interesting fellow, man. Like he was just like trying to conquer everything.
Yeah, imagine seeing the world and being like, this all has to belong to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, do you know Genghis Khan, too?
yeah.
Marco Polo is a sick show on Netflix, but if you...
I started it, but I just couldn't get too much into
tune
it.
and grab it. If you want to go hard on a podcast, one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to, it's called Dan Carlin, Hardcore History. And it's basically like the coolest history lesson you've ever gotten. And I think...
Isn't there something else around that, like drunken history or...
Drunken History is good too, but no...
Is that a show?
It is a show. Drunk
Okay.
History, yeah, it's where people get wasted and they have to tell like the story of,
Yeah.
you know, the British are coming, you know, like that story. It's hilarious, but no, Dan Carlin will chop it up for 5 hours, just him talking.
Let me ask you something.
For
This
5.
is completely random.
Yeah, go.
What do you think about slavery?
I think that slavery is like the Egyptians enslaved the Nubians, you know, and the Chinese enslaved the southern Chinese and the northern, you know what I mean? And it's just a part of life. The Aztecs enslaved all the smaller tribes, and then we enslaved. Manpower is before you have cranes, manpower is the best way to build stuff, and shit had to get built, and the cheapest way to do it was probably through.
But
making
think about
people-
what they were building in Egypt, though.
Right. They
You
were
know?
building immortality projects.
Yeah, and then like statues and like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to almost live forever. Like
That's
hey,
that's what the immortality project is. We're all just trying to live forever.
Yeah.
Just leave our mark.
Elon Musk has something really. He said some shit last night.
About slavery?
No, not about slavery, but about just the whole idea of trying to exist forever. I think that's something that we all want to do.
Yeah.
He was just saying like, eventually, and I don't know how true this is. It could be completely false, but eventually, people will be able to like die and download themselves into just a new
computer.
body.
Yeah,
Or
consciousness.
a new conscious.
Yeah.
And just continue to live forever. Is that something? And he said there's going to be two type of people. There's going to be people that want to do it. And there's going to be people that don't want to do it.
No.
Who do you want to be?
That's a good question. I want to live till I'm 150, but I want to be like living till I'm 140. You know what I mean? The last 10 years, yeah, it's gonna be.
You want to look back?
It's not that I want to look back. It's like I do want to be able to look back and say I lived a great life and everything. But like, you know, everybody gets mad. They're like, I don't want to be an old an old person who's like got to get their ass wiped for them. And I'm like, well, you know what? That's an inevitability of life. That like sometimes when you get old, you just can't take care of yourself as well. But you're still gonna live. I don't want ever to be, you know, I don't want to like execute myself if I can't. You know, it would suck to not wipe your own ass or need a sponge bath.
Yeah.
But I want to live for a long time, even if I have to go through the messy part of being old. But I don't.
I
Think
do too.
I don't think I'd want to live forever.
I will say this though, so I feel like life is just full of lessons. And my grandfather, he has Alzheimer's, dementia.
Yeah.
So never dealt with that in my life until he had it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember going to see him at the nursing home, and they got him in this unit. He's pretty free. He could do whatever he wants. Like, it's not very restrictive. And I remember my grandmother, she was there. She's old too, but she was taking care of him. And she got there, and I had to change his diaper for him. And I thought to myself, I said, would I want to go through that?
Yeah.
And the whole time I was changing his diaper, he was looking into my eyes, not in like a weird kind of way, but in a way where he's like, your youth are going to do this to you too. You know, like it's almost inevitable if you live to be old.
Right.
And it was very eye-opening. It was extremely eye-opening.
And probably humbling on like a lot of different levels.
Dude.
Of like, I love my grandfather.
Yeah. Like
this.
he was. It was very tough. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, it's probably
because he was like a
terrible
leader of my family.
Right.
And I'm transitioning into that role right now, where it's like people are looking to me for guidance.
Yeah.
How can I, like, hey, I need to borrow this, or like, and he was always that person. And to know that that's who I could be in the future just kind of shows me that, like, just go for what you want, man. Like, it's just back to that point. Like,
At the end of the day, somebody might have to change your diaper, so you might as well be.
yeah.
Because he built. Okay, so like, and I hate to say this because it might sound. Fuck it. So I'm just gonna say it how I say it and how it comes out. But like, he was your role model.
Yeah.
Right. You loved him. Right. So love and role models are two different things. Love is unconditional to family to a degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for him to be your role model and then for you to switch the diaper, to change his diaper. But if you hadn't have looked up to him and you had to change his diaper, do you think that would have had like, do you think you would have resented having to do it more?
That's
the love
tough
thing
because
comes into it.
let me
Love
tell you
comes
about
into it.
this.
Yeah.
So he lives in like and I'm glad you said that, because I do think that I would have done it no matter what, because I have morals and I'm just a very moral person. I believe a lot in karma.
Right, and helping somebody. If somebody needs...
Exactly.
What are you going to do, not do it? No.
So the guy next to him, he lives in a double, but they got like, it almost looks like a sheet that you just wrap around and like you can have your private space.
Yeah, like a
but if
curtain.
no one is visiting, it's open.
Yeah.
Now the guy next to him had been sitting in his diaper for like 2 or 3 days.
That's sad.
It's sad as fuck. And I remember,
Not changing his diaper.
yeah, I didn't change his diaper, but his daughter came in and she's like 50 or 60 years old. Now this shows you how old this person is. She's like 50 or 60. She comes in and she's just screaming at the nurses like, why isn't his diaper changed? But like, she's just going off. And it's a very humbling experience, man. Like, I think everyone should go through it.
And I think...
Because there's different stages of life. You come in and somebody's changing your diaper, and you go out and somebody's changing your diaper.
Right. And I think that's part of it, though. It's because also you need to... You, as the youth, need to change the diaper. It builds resilience. It makes you a better person.
Yeah. And it helps you. I feel like it helps me work harder.
Yeah.
Do you have grandparents?
I did.
Are they still here?
No, they passed away.
They
All
passed
of them,
away?
Yeah, all of them did.
All right. Were you...
In quick succession.
Okay.
Like...
Were you...
Yeah.
Like, my mom had me early, and her mom had her early. Is that the same for you and your family?
No, my mom, I think she was like 28-ish.
Okay, so she was
Like
definitely
32.
a little bit older.
Yeah.
Do you remember when your grandmother had your mom? Like, how old she was? Like, I'm just trying to get a gauge on, like,
no, it was, I think it was all, like, pretty appropriate for, like, the times. Because I know my grandparents got married when, like, she was, like, 18.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma also passed away early, so I'm trying to do the math of, like, how old my mom was when she passed away.
Yeah.
But, I think it was all pretty, like, staged out appropriately for, like, each time, yeah. So, what would you... I'm sorry, where's that question lead to? Sorry, go. You're asking me questions.
No, yeah, I'm just like, I'd like to know people. Like,
Yeah,
I
right.
love people's stories. Like,
This is why I like doing this too. Is like I've learned so much about you right now, and
Yeah.
it'd be hard to do that if we were at Oddfellows. You know what I mean?
dude, was that the second choice?
Of Oddfellows?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like if I met you just out at the bar.
Oh, yeah. I'm
You know
like,
what I mean?
yo,
We're not gonna
wait a
You're not
minute.
gonna ask me about slavery at the bar.
No, I mean, I feel like that actually could be interesting to see maybe who would be listening, from the side and want to chime in. But I don't even know where that was going. But I will say, I think that's a very humbling experience.
Yeah, because I had to help my grandfather. Seeing the behavioral. It's cool that we're talking about this because this behavioral psychologist dude was bringing up the fact that back in the day, back before. I don't know, life got so separated, right? Like, everybody lived in the same house, right? Like, your grandmother lived in the house with you. She got old in the house with you. Like, my dad,
My grandmother's still like that.
Exactly. She lives with your mom.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to take care of the old, right?
Yep.
And so, you hear, and the house is small. So, let's say the house is small. Grandma lives there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, one, you're seeing an old person age and go into that. And you're experiencing that. And it's keeping you close. We can separate ourselves so far from things. Like, we don't see death ever now because they put grandma in a home before she can die at the house. We don't kill our own meat. We don't see. There's no like infant mortality rate. Thank God, it's very low.
You think it's inevitable?
What?
Yeah, like you're just like. Do you think that we should see it more?
I think that you seeing that helped build resilience in you and prepared you for the fact that you might have to go through it, right? And then, like, even sex, for example, like, you used to hear, you didn't see porn, right? You got a nudie mag, maybe, or you, like, had one VHS tape that your
first time I saw
read.
porn, it fucking just, it was a pop-up.
Right, exactly. Like,
I had AOL dial-up.
And somehow it just snuck through the firewall, and you just
don't
saw
even
it.
know how. I think I was, you remember AIM?
Yeah.
I think I was in, like, a chat room. So, like, that just shows my age again, but... I think I was in a chat room.
Bro, who do you think's listening to this? Like, really young people?
I don't know.
You keep apologizing for your age. Like, you're not that old, bro. You're 28.
Like, but I just know, like, I don't know. But I was in a chat room, and I just remember, like, somebody was just, like, ASL. And, like, we would have conversations, and, like, horny girls on there and shit. And...
Because you'd go into different chat rooms.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'd go into the weird, kind of that first internet where it's like, oh, I'm just talking to somebody in North Carolina right now.
Random. Didn't even have to be somebody my age.
Right.
Like, they could be acting it out.
Right, and they're just saying, like, they're just, like, swearing and saying dirty shit. Like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy.
Exactly. So I remember that, and I remember a pop-up fucking happened, and that was and I almost got caught. I think I was, like, 12.
Oh, because you clicked on it? Yeah, of course
I clicked on it,
yeah.
But when you click on those, back in the day, it was like the internet was a little bit different. Like if you clicked on something, like you would just start getting pop-ups from like random shit.
Right. And
so like
you couldn't just get out of things quickly either. Like you got everything started popping up. You didn't know it was behind the other thing. You can't just click X and shit when it closed fast.
Dude, exactly. So I remember some porn popped up when my aunt was like helping me like type in like a password to it so I can get to another website because they had like child locks on it.
Right.
And she never said anything.
She didn't rat you out.
She didn't rat me out.
Right.
And
which is
I know she saw it
because
it was blatant.
Right.
And like it was in a very public space in the house, like grandmother, aunt, like you said, living in that house,
right.
taking care of the grandparents. And I was living in that spot, and I was just like, wow. Like, she didn't say anything.
Right, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
She didn't yell at you. So, this is perfect. So, like, when you hear your family members having sex, that's your first introduction to sex.
Yeah.
Not seeing some girl with lighting and makeup and all that and how porn can be is not real. That's not real life sexuality. That's not how sex goes down in real life.
Yeah.
It is now because we're all trying to like imitate it because we don't know how else to really, you know what I mean? We don't know how to interact with it. And I think one of the problems that comes up with it is that like the further you distance yourself from those human things, like changing your grandfather's diaper, living with your grandmother, seeing her get old, having to help her up the stairs,
yeah,
hearing parents have sex, those things, being close to death, that is what the human experience is. And the further and further you put yourself away from that by like having all your interactions on the internet, getting your meat from the grocery store. I'm not a hunter. I've never killed an animal. I don't have the balls to do it. But like, we're losing a lot of that mortality, like what makes us us. And if we can just download ourselves onto a computer and even just live on the web, I think that'll get us pretty far from what it looks like to be like a human being.
I often wonder, like, what would that be like? You know what I mean? Like, truly living. I'm obviously, if we ever got to that state, like, social media would be a little bit different. You could probably like reach out and touch something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus
IKEA's doing it now. You can put the IKEA furniture in your house.
I love
via
that.
Augmented reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes seeing if the couch fits.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you don't have to guess. It'll just, that's cool.
Like, yep, that'll fit.
That's that's a different shopping experience.
Yeah, that's way different.
Yeah, and I'm gonna touch on my life a little bit. My aunt and my mom, like, but more so my aunt. She always like just said booby. She had me call her Tata, and she had art of like naked women in the house and stuff. But it was like art, right? It was beautiful, and I think seeing that and like having that like little bit of an introduction, like your aunt didn't yell at you. Like, imagine getting yelled at for that, and then you'd for always think, because you're very young and impressionable,
was
a bad thing.
Yeah.
Or like some part of sexuality was bad, right? And I think a lot of that is like why, and losing that mortality is why people are like, fuck that, I don't want to be old, or fuck that, I can grab her ass. And like, you can get real bent out of shape if you're not dealing with the messy middle every step of the process, every step of the way. You love the process that you're going on through right now. I love the process of life, so much so in fact that I got it tattooed on my arm, that I love life. Like, I just love fate. Whatever comes is just gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you
like, I'm not scared. I don't know when I developed this, and I think maybe it's just been my whole life, but I've never really been scared of death.
Right. It's cool that we're talking about this too. On my arm, it's my sweater. It's called Memento Mori. Shout out to Danny at Faces for making this for me.
Yo, he's dope. By the way,
he is dope. He Memento Mori means remember you'll die. And Caesar, who was the emperor of Rome, he was a Stoic, and the thing I have tattooed on my arm is Stoic as well. It's a philosophy, and when he would conquer or win a battle, and they'd have a parade for him, he'd have his squire, which is like his assistant, whispering in his ear as they walked and paraded down the streets of Rome, and everybody's "Hail Caesar, long live the king," all these things. He'd have his assistant whisper in his ear, "Remember, you're just a man. Remember, you're just going to die. Like, none of this is real."
Whew.
Like, talk about not celebrating your wins too hard.
Yeah,
like,
that's extreme.
yeah, so, like, remember you'll die is just kind of like this, memento mori. Just remember it's not going to last, bro.
Yeah.
So you might as well enjoy it and live and do it.
That's why I'm like, just live. Do whatever the fuck you want.
This has gotten very Rogan-y. You've asked a lot of good questions. Why did you ask me about the slavery thing? What do you think about slavery? I had to come back to it because I kind of just gave
I'm always interested
soft
to see
answer, I
what
guess.
like what white people think about slavery, because like if this is gonna be unsolicited, it's like, tell me really how you feel. Like, I'm sure that there's people who could be like, yeah, it happened, and just kind of be moving. Like, I was just curious to be like, because I want to see every perspective of it, because obviously you don't remember your great grandparents ever owning any slaves, but you could also not really give a fuck
that they did.
Yeah. Because it was the times.
My great grandparent, like I'm Hungarian Jew, so, and I don't practice that, but by birthright, I am Jewish. Because it's mother, like, they treat it as a bloodline.
Yeah.
That passed down through the mother. They were slaves, too. The Jews have been enslaved and ostracized for years. And I don't identify as a Jewish person, but having...
What's your last name?
Zobrist.
Zobrist.
So that's Swiss.
Okay.
Yeah. But, and I don't even know my grandmother's maiden name, so I wouldn't know the Hungarian side of it. But I think that slavery in America has one face. and it's the blackface because that's who the slaves of America were,
Mm-hmm.
and the Native Americans too.
Yeah.
But like we're
Tough.
working our way of writing them out of history, so we don't really think about it, which is unfortunate. But and it is tough. But and the Chinese too built the railroads, enslaved to do that. And
Japanese.
The Japanese, right?
Yep.
And so when something has so many faces to it, I think that and it's still going on today in India and in Africa. There's still slaves, Africans enslaving Africans. It's just a messy middle part. It's part of the human experience that we're just trying to say we're solving now or making up for, but you're making up for a problem that's still going on.
And the winners write history.
The winners write the history, right? That's why we're not talking about the Indians.
Yeah, because if they would have won, they would have been like, yeah, this tribe of Europeans tried to conquer us, and we were able to prevail,
Right.
and this would be a whole different land.
And they'd paint them as like small white men with silly armor and sticks that shot fire instead of
4 foot.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Instead of painting them as conquistadors, which is what the Spanish painted themselves as, riding in on armor and painting themselves as gods. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right.
The winners write history. It's
What-
huge.
So what do you think of slavery then? Or what do you like to... Yeah, what do you think about slavery?
It's a soft subject, obviously, because I'm black, but
I like that we're talking about it.
yeah, it's
cool.
it's one of those things where I don't think it was right. I know it was happening all over the world.
Right. And it's still, yeah, like I said, still does.
I was actually kind of shocked at how long it happened.
In America?
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. Like, I was shocked at how many hundreds of years
It was going on for.
Yeah.
When you found out like that it was
especially with how the population of how many. Like, I'm not saying that I would have obviously had a better plan, but goddamn, I would have been a rebel.
yeah, right? Trying to not fight it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because you don't like being put in a box.
Yeah.
And you probably don't like being told what to do.
No.
Yeah, no. Neither do I. Which is a fun thing, like testing authority, especially now, since like shit is kind of fake. Like there's no real consequence, especially when you kind of lose a fear of like, oh, you're not going to physically hurt me. It's kind of like what the Joker says, like in the Batman movie. Like, you don't have anything on me. I know you're not going to kill me. So
Yeah.
we can do this for as long as I want to play the game. We're going to play it.
Yeah.
And
not really giving a fuck either.
exactly, not giving a fuck the whole way through. Which kind of has like a nihilist point of view to it. If you do choose to like stand on the roof and naked and fling your shit at the people below, like that's not right. But if you're just trying to like push the boundaries just a little bit in like a fun, safe, like over the line, just like a little bit, you know, obviously the extreme is standing on the roof and flinging your shit at people, but like, let's just step over
That's
the
such
line.
a crazy action to do.
But people would do it. Like, I know there's a kid who I used to hang out with who just really does not give a shit. Like, steals, lies, crashes cars, leaves
What's
cars.
his name so I can never...
See him? His name's
Fucking-
Kellen. His name is Kellen. I'm not going to get his
Jesus.
last name. But, like, he's that guy. He pushed it too far. He
Mm-hmm.
really decided, like, because he saw there's no consequence of anything. Like, it's crazy. And he always could get a meal or anything. You know what I mean? And, like, how long that game will last for him, we'll see.
Yeah.
But rule breaking in a safe way and in a positive way, right? That is constructive, I think, and good for culture.
I do.
Be the,
And rule bending, too.
Right.
Like, how fucking much can we actually bend this shit?
right. You got to know the rules before you can break them, right? Like, you got to be a master painter by everybody's definition before you can just start splatting the wall.
Do you really,
and
though?
calling it art. I think so.
You do?
I think you got to know. You're trying to break down song structure, right? Mm-hmm. You can't do that if you don't know song structure to begin with. Like, right?
But what if I just started and it worked?
If you just started and it serendipitously just
'Cause
happened,
lately,
but I don't think
I don't know.
you could do it again.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
For some reason, I feel like there's this wave coming where there's a lot of just starting and it just works.
Like
Like,
first try type shit.
Yeah.
I think that comes from our
And yeah, maybe you're right. They
generation
can't repeat it.
I think that comes from our generation of participation medals.
Yeah.
Everybody got a fucking trophy. Oh, you did it. I did 12 episodes of a shitty podcast called What to Do When You're 22. I'm doing 27 episodes of maybe a little bit better podcast called Unsolicited Advice.
Is this 27?
This is episode 27.
Let's go.
27 days. I've done one every day.
Holy
for
shit.
30 days. That's the challenge.
Oh, wow.
Right. So
You only got 3 more days.
Yeah, 4.
Who's next?
On Wednesday, on the 30th, I have the Wonder Jam, which I'm super excited for.
What's that?
They're a creative agency in Columbus.
Okay.
They have their own podcast. I kind of look up to them. They're super cool people. They're super smart. They teach classes too on like freelancing, photography. They're just brilliant.
Okay.
I'm doing live from Bodega on Tuesday the 29th, which is going to be sick. And then
You're going to be live?
I'm just going to do it live from the thing and have it be filmed and shit. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's going to be dope.
Yeah, pull through. I think it's at 7 to 9. Yeah, 7 to 9. I got to make a flyer.
Yeah, do it. Get
low
you a flyer, man.
Low key promotion. I don't want it to be too much of a thing. Just because I think it'll just be me being gummy and like super happy the whole time. But what I was saying is that I did so little, right? And I've gotten to meet so many cool people by just saying I have a podcast. And granted, that's part of Columbus. Is the beauty of it is like, yeah, sure, I've never met you, but I trust you. Like, we're all from Columbus. We're all homies, right? Oh, you know one person that I know? Sure, fuck it.
Come on.
All right, come on. And I don't know. We just get a lot of kudos. People are very supportive now, which I think is good. But I think on a Gary Vee thing is you're not sending. I think you got to do a lot of work, like 10,000 hours, and then you can really become to start to play around. You don't think so?
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I believe wholeheartedly in the 10,000 hours rule. I'm still working towards I think I'm close though.
Yeah.
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 Like my confidence level is just like, yeah, I'm close. I've been doing this for years.
Do you read books?
Yeah.
Mastery by Robert Greene is a book I think you'd love.
Robert Greene is dope. Robert Greene is like, he's controversial.
He is. 48 Laws is a controversial
That's
concept.
the first book that I read by him.
Yeah.
And then there was another book that my last roommate, he recommended to me. It was something about the persuasion. It was like how to like.
Seduction and the Art of Persuasion.
Yeah.
Sexual Seduction and the Art of Persuasion. Yeah, I read that one too.
He told me, he said, it's dangerous. And I said, what do you mean? He said,
it's dangerous. I can totally understand that. And it's dangerous because, and I don't like it, to tell you the truth, because it puts a rule book on human emotion, and it puts boundaries on things. Like
it's boxes.
It's boxes. It's a bunch of little boxes that if you think you see all these like 48 laws of power, the boxes, you see them all, and then you can manipulate people in the boxes. I don't like that. I don't like that way of thinking. But Mastery is just him telling the stories of like Ben Franklin, Charles Darwin, and a bunch of other people like Freddie Roach, the boxing instructor who does Pacquiao and all those people. Telling their story of their 10,000 hours. So like Ben Franklin was terrible at social interactions. He just kept getting duped by people, like in Philly when he first moved here. He just kept getting duped, and robbed and cheated, and people were taking advantage of him because he was probably socially like almost on the spectrum a little bit. Like he was just very naive because he came up in a good household and all these things. So he decides, I'm going to be an expert at talking to people. And he becomes so good at talking to people, he becomes the liaison. He becomes a representative of America to France. That's how smooth he was. And he started by not being smooth at all. And I just love like that story because it's not 10,000 hours in the fact of I practiced.
But he got duped for years.
He got duped for years first. Lost a bunch of money, got scammed.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you usually think of like 10,000 hours as like, okay, I'm going to kick a tree for 10,000 times. You know what I mean? I'm going to practice like martial arts or basketball. And you think that way, but to see it applied to social psychology is just kind of more interesting.
Do you ever
because I don't play sports.
Speaking of 10,000 hours, I was in the military for a little bit, and there's like your commander when you first get in, they're called a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
We all know a version of the drill sergeant through movies,
Right.
whatever. Now, do you know how drill sergeants train? Their training is they have to yell at a tree for 48 hours straight.
To be a drill sergeant?
Yes.
That's intense.
A
No, I did not
tree.
love that. I did not know that.
They literally go out into a field and just yell commands
for 48
for
hours.
48 hours. And that's 48. Imagine 10,000. And obviously you're learning more and more throughout the course. But that's intense, man.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
That is that's
Yeah.
wild. On the learning note, there's this book called The Art of Learning, and it was written by Josh Watkins, who have you ever seen the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer? It's about a young chess prodigy.
I heard of it. I never saw it.
So the movie's based on him, based on
Where can I watch it?
I think it's on Netflix right now.
Okay.
But it's cool. It's about a young kid who like plays chess and he plays in the parks in like New York, and it's super fun. But Josh Watkins then he became like an expert in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then he became an expert in Tai Chi push hands, and to like master 4 games, like to truly master 4 games. And now he's like mastering deep sea diving. He's just obsessed with like going that deep. He wrote a book called The Art of Learning, where it's like he just gives his insights onto smaller circles. That's that concept. Is like, so you start big, and the more you spend time in that circle and the more you see and not just watch and really think about what you're doing, you can drastically improve that 10,000 hour time by like focusing harder on the mistakes and like really trying to deep focus while you're doing something. I don't know. It's fascinating.
No,
I think you'd
absolutely.
like the book. I think you'd love the book. I'm going to bring you 3 books. Next time I see you, I'm going to bring you 3 books.
I need your 3 books.
Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss.
Okay.
He just took all the interviews, all the links in his show notes, and put them in a book.
Oh, wow.
And it's great, bro. Like, and you get to cherry pick. So like one section's about wealth, the other one's about health, mindset. Like you just go in, get a great little snippet, like 2 pages from one person.
I think that's the key to a lot of shit that people don't realize. Like, you ever have that friend and they can't figure it out.
They just can't get out of their own fucking head or out of the way. Yeah.
And I'm always like, you got to just do this, but it takes them wanting to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think mindset's important. You seem to have. I didn't really.
I'm very like.
You're very open
to
person.
a lot of
and you're very. I'm surprised.
People don't realize that.
I'm not that surprised, just because of like I've heard you speak and I've heard your songs and everything. But like I'm more surprised. It's been great.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
It's been super dope. But
yeah. Do you have any? Yeah. I guess we should.
Oh yeah. Let me.
Kind of naturally, organically rapping right now.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't have any plugs right now. I do have a new song coming out.
There you go.
On February the 8th. I don't know when this will be live, but
live today.
Oh, it's live today?
Yeah.
Okay. February 8th, my new song is coming out with Trigno and Jazzy Flower. It's called Get With You. It's just a song about that one girl that, you know, you've been trying for years. You start popping, and now she wants to get with you. And
That's
you're kind of like, is that what I want?
Right, because you weren't fucking with me back then, but you're fucking with me now.
Back then, didn't want me. Now I'm hot. All on me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So that's kind of, it's like a new age 2019 version of that song.
I love it. And your song came out 2 Fridays ago.
Maintain. Yeah.
That's your last song.
It's my last song. It's about working a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And just being able to realize that it's cool. You have other dreams and they'll happen. The hook goes, getting paid just to maintain. Ayy, speeding through the city, left lane. It's literally, just think about, like, I wanted to be very motivating to somebody that's working a 9 to 5.
Right.
That's like, oh, okay.
You should send that one to Gary V's playlist. You know Gary V has a Spotify playlist?
I just did.
Did you really?
I just did today.
That's awesome.
Today.
Because he puts on rappers. He loves rap.
Every day, I try to pitch to at least 10 playlists.
Yeah, you said that. That's
so,
awesome.
like, I saw that one. That one just happened to pop up, and I was like, okay, yeah,
that would
done.
fit right in the Gary V playlist.
Exactly.
That's badass, bro. Well, thank you.
Hell yeah.
It was a pleasure to talk to you, bro.
Dude, it's been awesome.
It's been fun. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.
See you.
I'm not always right. I'm only trying to be nice with my unsolicited advice. Unsolicited advice.